Hey fam, Master Coach G here, thriving after 50, mind, body, soul. And in today's episode, I am talking about healthy habits that will improve your quality of life. And we all should want to know what healthy habits that will help us to improve our quality of life. Now, here's the thing. Improving our quality of life does not require a total reset. And I know that people think that you got to do all these things. The answer to that is no. Start off small. Steady habits tend to work better than big bursts of things that you can do at one time. So what I'm going to do in this episode is I'm going to share some practical habits that will make a real difference over time. And that's the key right there. It's small practical habits that's going to make a real difference in improving your quality of life. This is Master Coach G, and I will see you on the inside. Hey fam, Master Coach G here, thriving after 50, mind, body, soul. And in this episode, I'm talking about how healthy habits can improve our quality of life. And that is something that we should all strive for, is improving our quality of life. Now, improving our quality of life does not require a total reset. I know people think that in order to improve your quality of life that you have to do all these things at once. No. Take small, steady steps. Small, steady habits tend to work better than big bursts of things, because what happens is usually when people start something big like that, when you talk about changing your health, it doesn't last, because if you go small and steady, then you can see better results. Okay, I remember this lady I used to go to church with. Her name was, we called her Aunt Ruby, and she used to say, if you go fast, you won't last. If you go slow, you can go some more. And that is a very true statement. So small, steady habits tend to work better than big bursts of doing too much at once, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share some practical habits that will make a real difference over time. Okay. And it's about the consistency. Now, what you're going to see here in this episode is, again, the 4 pillars. You're going to always hear me talk about the 4 pillars because they are very, very important, and you cannot get away from them. No matter what you do, you're going to always hear about the 4 pillars. The first thing we're going to talk about is the sleep. Sleep is so important. It really does matter. That's why we should aim for 7 to 9 hours of sleep. And I know you've heard so many of my podcasts, and I always talk about sleep. But if I continue to repeat it, I'm hoping that you will get a sense of how important it is to get your sleep. You should aim for 7 to 9 hours of sleep every single night, 7 days a week. Set a bedtime. Okay, I always say that. Have a specific bedtime every single night, 7 days a week, and try to stick to that goal. I know you may not always hit the mark, but set a bedtime and stick with that. Get that routine going. Because if you get the routine going, then you'll find yourself, and your body will let you know, because our body has a memory. Okay, so when you get used to going to bed at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock, your body's going to let you know, hey, it's almost 10 o'clock. Okay, so I always recommend that you take an hour before it's your bedtime and to get into a relaxed mode. Relax your mind, relax your body, and get yourself prepared to go to sleep. And then you will be able to go to sleep, stay asleep, and get good sleep and good rest. Okay, so go to bed and wake up roughly around the same time, even on the weekends. Don't change your bedtime. And I know sometimes you may go out to dinner, you may be out late, and that's okay, but you're not going to do that every single week. Okay, so you want to stay with a constant routine when it comes to your bedtime. Here are some other things that you can do. Keep your room cool and dark. Okay, I always sleep with the mask over my eyes. I like it completely dark. I like the room cool. I have the ceiling fan going. I don't care how cool it is or how hot it is outside. I always keep my ceiling fan going because I like it cool and dark. With my eye covering, I go right to sleep. It's like, I don't know what it is about that. You might want to try it. They sell them. You can get one from the Dollar Tree. They're very inexpensive. At least try it. See if it works for you. I have gotten amazing results. I've been using an eye covering now for years. I can't even tell you how long it's been, but get you some eye covering, keep your room dark and cool. And here's another thing, put your phone away 30 to 60 minutes before bedtime. Don't be sitting there scrolling, because the light from the phone does something to your body. The illumination from the light definitely affects your mood. Okay, so put your phone away. If you have to put it in another room, so be it. Because good sleep improves your mood, your focus, your immunity, and it also controls your appetite. I know that sounds crazy, but it absolutely does. That's the reason why sleep is so important. Okay. Here's another thing, another pillar: move your body every day. Okay. You don't need an intense workout. I go to the gym, and everybody knows that. I've done so many podcasts, and everybody knows that I have a routine where I go to the gym 5 days a week. You don't have to have an intense workout. As long as you're moving at least 150 minutes a week, okay? 30 minutes a day, a brisk walk or a walk just to enjoy nature, that counts. So a simple way to get your 30 minutes in is walk outside the door, walk 15 minutes in any direction, and walk back, and you've just walked 30 minutes, okay? If you don't like walking, then you can do cycling, swimming, whatever it is that you enjoy doing, do that. I also recommend that you add some stretching into that, because stretching is actually really a good workout. It's almost like doing Pilates or doing yoga. So yes, definitely incorporate some stretching in your movement. Okay. Of course, strength training 2 to 3 times a week is always helpful. Okay. It helps you to maintain your muscle mass. It protects your joints as we age, and this podcast is for us that are over 50. But movement is very, very, very important. Okay. The next thing, of course, another pillar, eat real food. Okay. Eliminate as much processed food as you possibly can. Build your meals around vegetables, fruits, whole grain, lean protein, and healthy fats. Drink more water. Let me say that again. Drink more water, okay? Water is really important for our bodies. It helps to detoxify our body. It removes toxins from our body. And pay attention to your urine. That's a good way to know if you have actually gotten enough water throughout the day. If your urine is dark yellow, you haven't drunk enough water, okay? If it's like a pale yellow, then you're on the right track, okay? Keep the processed food out of your diet, okay? Eat more healthy snacks, okay? Now, it's okay occasionally to treat yourself to, something, because I'm a firm believer that, you can't deny yourself. And I know, a lot of people will say, oh, don't eat this, don't eat that. But if you, let's say you have a thing for chocolate cake. Now, I'm not saying eat chocolate cake every day, but if you ate chocolate cake once every 14 days or something like that, that's okay, because you may have a craving for it, but just don't do it often. Just moderation. Everything has to be in moderation, okay? So, and it's okay to treat yourself every now and again, okay? And, we're not perfect, and I'm not telling you to be perfect because I'm not perfect either. I like to get the fruit. I like grapes, apples, bananas, and I like to take my fruit and I like to dip it in yogurt. Okay, that's just something that I like to do. It's good. I'm getting good nutrition from my snacks, so you might want to try that, or either that or a protein shake. But aim for better choices most of the time. Okay, and again, you have to develop these habits. You have to practice this. Okay, holistic living is a practice. You have to practice that. Okay, now here's something that it is important, which is protecting your mental space. Okay, limit how often you check the news and social media. Okay, personally, myself, I don't do the news. That's just me. It takes me to a place that is hard for me to get out of, because I become enraged with the stuff that I hear on the news. It's just so much going on in the world, and it makes me upset. It makes me angry. So I just don't do the news. I don't do local news. I don't do national news. Now, every now and again, if I'm on social media, it might pop up on there. I might see something, and and there's nothing wrong with being up on current events. I don't have to do it as much as I used to. When I was in the military, they always want you to be up on current events. I just pray and ask God to show me what I need to see. That whole news thing, the social media, I get on social media maybe once or twice a day to post something, and then I get off. I don't do a lot of scrolling, because it's just not good for my mindset, because I have to protect my mental space. So I choose not to do a lot of scrolling on social media. Okay, so find something else to do with that time. So replace that time with reading a book, or listening to some music, some soothing music that's going to soothe your spirit, that's going to soothe your mental, or find a good habit, something that's going to keep you calm. But that whole news, social media thing, try to limit that, because that the social media thing can definitely, and the news can definitely affect your mental space. So you want to protect that at all costs. Okay, here's another thing: stay connected. Strong relationships, especially with God and whoever you serve. For me it's God. For you it may be something else. It could be the universe or whatever. But whatever that is, create a strong relationship with that. For me, I like to meditate. I like to pray. I like to, just have my time to think about what it is that I'm doing, or the events of today, the things that I have lined up for tomorrow, and that's just how I like to stay connected, because it really helps me to know exactly where I am. So strong relationships, even with your spouse or your significant other, your children, whomever, but strong relationships are very important, okay? Because it keeps you in a place where you can, just kind of stay connected. I always like to say iron sharpens iron. So, my thing is, my prayer time and my time of meditation. And I have friends that I can call. I have, a couple friends that I'm in contact with on a daily basis. And it helps me to stay connected. That's where the iron sharpening iron comes in at. And have dinner with your family. A lot of times now, especially now, people are on their phones. They sit down together. They're scrolling on their phones. You're not even having a conversation with each other. Or the family isn't sitting down together eating. Because I remember when I was growing up, when it was dinner time, we all came to the table at the same time. Of course, 50 years ago, there was no cell phone. So, we didn't have to worry about that. But it's important that you have family time. So eat with your family, converse with your family, have time of fellowship with your family. It's really important to stay connected in strong relationships, okay? Even if you have to join a group, that's okay too, meaningful conversations help us to improve and to be able to recognize how we feel, because we have to be able to understand that, because that's also a part of our mental status as well. Okay, practice small moments of reflection. Okay, I always like to go back and look at my day, my week, my month. Then that way I can make adjustments. I reflect, and then I make adjustments, okay? Because you need that time to reflect. And I do that during my time of meditation. It gives me the opportunity to do that. So I would say before you start that process to take like 5 minutes of quiet time, some deep breathing. There's plenty of YouTube videos on deep breathing, different styles of deep breathing. Find one that works for you and practice that, okay? Or write down 3 things that you're grateful for before you go to bed. That's always a good thing, and focus on those 3 things that you're grateful for before you go to bed, because I think that when you end your day with a grateful heart and you start your day with a grateful heart, you will find that your day is so much better, okay? These simple practices help you to shift your focus from the constant stress of the world, okay? And we have to be able to do that, because if we don't, those things affect our health. And I don't think that we really understand that. Here's something else that also affects our health, that is a good, healthy habit, is to keep our environment simple and clean. Eliminate the clutter, seriously, okay? Because the more clutter you have around you in the natural, your mind is going to be cluttered, okay? For me, I cannot stand clutter. I become a totally different person. I don't even visit people. I don't go to their homes if their home is cluttered. I just can't do it, because I cannot relax. I cannot be myself. I get so uptight. I just get enraged. So I don't put myself in those environments. So have a very clean, simple environment, because it helps you to keep your space in your head, your mental space, uncluttered, okay? So a tidy space reduces mental clutter, because if you have physical clutter, I can promise you, you're going to have mental clutter too. So start small, clean off your desk, make up your bed. If you have clothes in your closet or clothes in your dresser drawer or clothes laying around that you don't wear, donate them to somebody. Give them to someone who could use them, that is going to be useful for, because you don't need the clutter. Why are you holding on to them? You got to get rid of that stuff so you can make room, so you can free up the space, okay? Trust me, you will feel more in control if your space is clear, because then your mind becomes clear, okay? Now, here's something else that's really, 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 and we're going to add 10,000 more reallys to that is really important. Setting boundaries, okay? That's something that most of us don't do. Learn how to say no without being guilty, without feeling guilty. It's okay to say no, okay? We don't have to say yes to everything. Some things require a no. Because if it's going to put us in a position, then later on we're going to wish we had said no, but then it's too late. Because now you put your word out there, now you feel obligated. So just say no. I'm not available, or I wish I could help you at this time, but I just can't do it right now. Maybe some other time. Protect your time and energy. Stop overcommitting. That leads to stress and resentment. I'm speaking from experience, y'all. Okay, clear boundaries create more room for things that actually matters. So make sure you're setting boundaries, and when you need to say no, just say no. And it's okay. It's okay. You don't have to feel guilty. You don't have to feel bad. No is okay. It's not a bad word. Really, it's not. Okay. Here's something else that I do. And I strongly suggest that other people will pick this up. Keep learning, okay? Read books, take short courses, learn new skills. Growth keeps life interesting, and it also builds confidence, okay? I am currently taking a course at Harvard Medical School. It's called a Life and Wellness, Executive Life and Wellness course at Harvard Medical School. I am constantly learning. Once I complete that course, then I'm going to be going to school for my doctor in holistic medicine. So I'm constantly learning. I always tell people, I know a lot of my friends Well, not a lot. I don't have a lot of friends, but the friends that I do have, and even other people that I see on social media, they're either going on cruises, they're going on vacations, and that's cool, and I tell people, I could spend $5,000 and have a really nice vacation, but I take my $5,000 and I will go and take a course. But that's just my choice, because learning helps me to build more confidence in my skill set. So keep learning, read more books, take some short courses, learn new skills, because that is definitely going to help you to build more confidence in yourself. Okay. Now here's something else that's important. I recommend this, because once you know what you're dealing with, then you can take a holistic approach, okay? Get regular checkups, okay? Preventive care really matters, okay? Because what you want to do is so let's say you go to the doctor and they do lab work and they say, well, you're borderline, they're really big on this borderline thing. You're borderline diabetic, okay? Well, that doesn't mean that you're all the way over in the zone of being a diabetic, but you're close. That's what borderline means. Is like, you're just like a couple steps away from being a diabetic. But if you learn that information and you know that information, then what you can do is you can prevent yourself from crossing that line into becoming a full-fledged diabetic. Okay, so it does matter on getting regular checkups. I would say see your doctor, your dentist as recommended, because small issues turn into big issues. So it's just like if you had a leak in your roof and it's leaking in your bedroom, you're not going to just keep letting it leak. You know what I'm saying? You're going to fix the leak. So that's the reason why, because if you don't, it's going to turn into something bigger. Next thing you know, your whole roof is caving in. So, small issues turn into big issues. And if you detect them early enough, you will be able to find another approach. So again, like if the doctor says you're a borderline diabetic, then what you can do is, you can do some research, or of course call me, but change your eating habits, change your sleeping habits, get more physical activity in, drink more water. Those are the things that you can do to prevent yourself from crossing that line into becoming a full-fledged diabetic. Okay. You don't have to adopt all these things at once. Pick one or two that you feel that's going to be realistic, and do it for a week, and then increase it every single week. Do something different. You got a whole list of things. I just named off 10 things that you can do. Pick one or two of them, things that's doable. Don't pick something that that you're not going to be able to do. Start off small. You eat the elephant one bite at a time, so that when they become a routine, then you can add something else. Okay, because the quality of your life improves through consistency. That's how you improve your quality of life, is through consistency. Okay? So I appreciate you spending this time with me. I hope this episode has blessed you. If it has, please share it with someone that's on their wellness journey. But before I get out of here, I got to give a shout out to all my listeners around the world. Here in the United States, Canada, Australia, Russia Federation, China, Mexico, Belgium, Ireland, South Africa, Brazil, Nigeria, United Kingdom, Germany, France, Bangladesh, Ukraine, Kuwait, India, Hong Kong, Dominican Republic, Philippines, Barbados, Saudi Arabia, Spain, Japan, Indonesia, Pakistan, Portugal, Netherlands, Singapore, Peru, Samoa, Finland, UAE, Lithuania, Chile, Denmark, Vietnam, and Switzerland. Until next time, keep shifting your mind, caring for your body, and nurturing your soul. I'm Master Coach G, and I will see you on the next level.